Well, hi Mark, welcome to another busy week, and you're due to Auckland tomorrow with quite a strong looking team. Going on from last week, you'd expect them to have improved.
Yes, certainly, Dave. We just got the three runners on tomorrow night at Auckland, but by all reports, boys happy with them, and they've all trained on well since their first outing.
And Nevada, well, we had a bit of a surprise last week, but he looks as if he's capable of going on in this grade at least.
Yes, well, he's probably the one that's thrived since he's been up there too, according to Boy. So the way he won last week and the time he went, you'd think he'd be very hard to beat again tomorrow night.
And the two horses down south, or the four horses down south, Havana in particular looks a strong chance on the debut.
Looks a strong chance. Second row draw probably need a little bit of an advantage somewhere through running, but yeah, I think on the way she trained, she's her best show in that race.
And is Tim changing drives in the boys' race of any significance? He's on Rock Legend instead of Aladdin?
No, not really. No, Jean's been a good supporter of Olivia's with her driving, so we opted to go that way. But no, I think both horses are pretty compatible, and both will go good races.
Yeah, should be hard to beat. And then we turn to Addington, where you open up with Delightful Dude and Major Moose, and on their last run, they wouldn't think there's much between those two.
No, they both win good races for second and third. So yeah, I think the way they've seen this week, the racing hasn't hurt them, and they should be very hard.
Yes, well, Delightful Dude did some work on the race, and Major Moose sort of came home very strongly. So, would you compare them? Would one have a slight advantage on another?
Look, not really. Not on last week's performance. There wasn't much that separated them in the end, but maybe Delightful Dude just could do a little bit more work if he had to.
And then we come to the race, which is must be a New Zealand first, with eight, or an Addington first, certainly, with 8 runners all from the same stable. Does this present difficulties for you, Mark, for you and Natalie, in assessing the field and helping the other drivers? And there must be a few problems associated with it.
Yeah, it's not the way you like to operate, having so many in the one race, but it's the way that the system dictates, and there's probably a couple there that'd be better just to make it more of a trial than an actual race. But I think the ones that are going to carry the money will be the ones that'll be filling the spots.
It would be fair to say the 3 winners and Pace and Pride, will you expect those to be ahead of the others?
Yes, I would, Dave. Yeah, I think they'd be the main chances.
It's all about faith. He's very impressive, fast last quarter, last start. A wee bit keen in the running. Are you looking to sort of further educate him in that respect, or is it just that he's going so well?
Look, it'd be nice to be able to do that. I don't know, from a wide draw, whether that'll work out that way, because he's probably a horse you've just got to go with him a little bit. So he would be up there handier early, I would think. So whether he gets in or not, or whether he's got to work on to the lead, just remain to be seen.
Is he the sort of horse that will relax in the open more than in the trail, or is he just keen to go?
Look, I think he would relax in the open if you weren't there too quick. He would need cover for a little part of the race, and then I think if you moved with him and raced in the open, he'd be better than perhaps if he just went out of the gate and ended up in the open.
And Pace and Pride has obviously got to be tough from that draw. One draw, the way it went on first up.
Yes, look, he's a nice little horse, so wouldn't underrate him. I think he'll be a serious chance.
And of the horses that are making their debut, 4 of them are in the same trial at Ashburton, and they all had recommendations from it. One made ground strongly from the back, and they ran home in a quick time up the front. Is one ahead of the others, or would you just say it's the run of the race?
Look, I think it'll just be the run they get. I think they're pretty well all in the same boat, but had they been in maiden races, they'd probably be very competitive.
It's all about faith. Would that be your recommendation or your tip?
Yeah, look, I think him and Pace and Pride will have the measure of the two girls, but I probably think they'll be the two that'll be fighting out the finish.
And talking of Pride, we've got American Pride, and he's up in grade, but I guess for you it's more a question of how he goes early.
That's right. Yes, he stepped beautifully last week, and then with the false start, that didn't help him because he missed it the next time round. But yeah, hopefully he's just a horse. He's a little bit fractious. He hasn't had much practice from a stand, but if they don't stand for too long, he's got a good chance of trotting off.
There's some fairly useful sorts in it because he's in a higher grade, but on ability you'd expect him to be pretty competitive if he does it right.
Yeah, I would, Dave. And last start after he lost that bit of ground early, his performance afterwards was very good. So he would need to step, but I think on ability he would be thereabouts.
And then we come to the two fillies later in the night. Both very interesting types by the look of them. They've both trialled well. They both look very promising. What are you expecting from them first up?
They're both very forward. They've had sort of some good groundwork and about 3 trials under their belt. So look, they go into it pretty forward, and I think being a fillies and mares only, I think they'll be very hard.
Yes, it's a good race for them. Would you have a slight preference for one over the other, or don't you want to be committed?
Well, one's a year older than the other, than the 3-year-old filly, so yeah. No, I don't really. The 3-year-old's got a good turn of foot, so yeah, they're both quite nice fillies.
That's good. And just to revert to Auckland for a second because of the interest in the horse last week, but Go Paddy appeared to have a gear problem, according to the starts report that Brent reported. So could that have explained the run?
Well, I hope so, Dave. Like I expected him to go much better than he did, so I hope that was a problem, and we've rectified that. So this week there should be no excuses.
Oh, that's good. Well, all the best for the weekend, Mark.
Thanks, Dave.
Right.